Tom Cruise denies abandoning daughter. Los Angeles FAP Hollywood megastar Tom Cruise has denied having abandoned his daughter Suri following his divorce from Katie Holmes last year, while acknowledging that he has seen less of the 7-year-old. In a statement filed in court this week, the U.S. actor said he had a wonderful relationship with his daughter, who he said had never indicated that she has ever felt abandoned by me. Cruise launched legal action last year against Bauer, the publisher of U.S. magazine Life and Style, and In Touch for $15 million over covers claiming he had abandoned his daughter. A July 2012 edition of Life and Style splashed the headline, "Suri is in tears, abandoned by his dad," over a picture of a sobbing girl. Holmes and Cruise has announced that they split the month before after 6 years of marriage, and Suri was living with her mother. In a 2-page statement filed ahead of new court hearing later this month and published by Entertainment News website Radar Online, Cruise said the assertion that I abandoned Suri after my divorce is patently false. I have in no way cut Suri out of my life, whether physically, emotionally, financially, or otherwise. Even during the times when I was overseas and not able to see Suri in person, we were and continue to be extremely close. Cruise, a prominent member of the Church of Scientology, said he was out of the country from June until December last year, shooting 2 back-to-back movies, while Suri lived with her mother in New York. As a result of the changed circumstances following the divorce, we are not able to see each other as often as we did prior to the divorce. But he said, as my numerous emails from Suri's mother during this time period demonstrated, I was a constant presence in Suri's life during the time that defendants false claim that I had abandoned her. While I'm sure my daughter misses me when I am not with her, as I miss her, she is a very happy child, and we have a wonderful relationship and cheerful phone calls. She has never indicated in words or substance that she has ever felt abandoned by me, Holmes announced on June 28 last year that she was filing for divorce to end his 5-year marriage to Cruise, who was reportedly taken completely by surprise by the bombshell. The couple, who wed in November 2006, after a whirlwind romance and a proposal beneath the Eiffel Tower in Paris, struck a divorce settlement less than 2 weeks later. A court hearing in the Libor case is scheduled on November 26, according to the statement filed this week. Is it time for the U.S. to legalize marijuana? Is it high time for the federal government to legalize marijuana? That's what pot activists are asking a day after Colorado voters approved a historic ballot measure to tax legal marijuana sales, and Portland, Maine, became the first East Coast city to vote to legalize marijuana for adults. In Colorado, about 65% of voters approved positions. Is establishing a 50% tax on the wholesale sale of marijuana for adult use and a 10% sales tax on retail marijuana sales in addition to standard state and local sales taxes. The Colorado Legislative Council estimates that the initiative will generate $17 million in annual tax revenue, some of which will be used to fund the state's public school construction program. We are grateful voters approved funding that will allow for a strong regulatory environment, just like liquor is regulated. Colorado Gov. John Hickenlooper said in a statement, "We will do everything in our power to make sure kids don't smoke pot and that we don't have people driving who are high." The ballot measure gives Colorado the ability to regulate marijuana properly. Meanwhile, voters in Portland, Maine overwhelmingly approve Question 1. Elementary all legal penalties for possession of small amounts of marijuana by adults 21 and older within city limits. In Michigan, 3 cities, including Lansing, vote to decriminalize the use of possessions of up to an ounce of marijuana on private property by anyone 21 years old or older. The election day pro-pot victories come on the heels of a nation poll that found, for the first time ever, a majority of Americans favor legalizing marijuana for recreational use. According to the Globe Up survey released late month, 58% of Americans favor legalization, up 10% in the last year. However, the reason for Americans' greater acceptance of marijuana, it is likely that the movement will spur further legalization of effort across the United States. Globe said the Marijuana Policy Project, the pro-pot group that pushed the measure in Colorado and Portland, said it plans to campaign for legalization in 30 more states, including ballot initiatives in Maine, Alaska, Arizona, California, Massachusetts, Montana, and Nevada, and bears in Delaware, Hawaii, Maryland, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont state legislatures. It is only a matter of time before voters and lawmakers in other states recognize the benefits and adopt similar policies. Mentioned Tevrat, Marijuana Policy Project Director of Communication said on Tuesday, and those who do want like face interference from the Fed. In an August memo, U.S. Deputy Attorney General James Crow said that the federal government would not attempt to interfere with efforts like the one in Washington and Colorado to implement marijuana legalization law passed by state votes. The statement, coupled with recent votes, seem to have emboldened the legalization movement. It's time to move beyond prohibition and adopt a more sensible approach. David Ball, Marine Political Director for the Marijuana Policy Project, said. WikiLeaks Snowden staffer says unsafe to return to Britain. London, AFP. A WikiLeaks staffer who has been accompanying Edward Snowden and said Wednesday she has left Russia for Germany, but the threat of prosecution made it unsafe for her to return home to Britain. In August, Sarah Harrison Health, former U.S. National Security Agency contracted Snowden flee Hong Kong to Russia, where he has now been granted temporary asylum from U.S. authorities who want to prosecute him for leaking official secrets. In a statement, the deadline from Berlin and issued by anti-security website WikiLeaks, Harrison said she had now left Snowden's side and had arrived in Germany over the weekend. She said that after spending 30 days with Snowden in Moscow airport while he sought asylum, I then remained with him until our team was confident that he had established himself and was free from the interference of any government. But she said the detention under British anti-terror laws of David Verenda, the partner of journalist Glenn Greenwald, who learned the scope of the Snowden leaks, showed there was a climate of persecution in her own home country, Britain. Almost every story published on the GCHQ and NSA Brooks spying program falls under the UK government's interpretation of the word terrorism, she wrote. In response, our lawyer has advised me that it is not safe to return home. British police hold Verenda and London's Heathrow airport for 9 hours on August 18, as he was in transit from Germany to Brazil for questioning about the leaks on the NSA and Britain's Electronic Airdropping Center, GCHQ. Harrison, believed to be 31, is one of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's closest Before her work with Snowden, she was closely involved in Assange's battle to avoid extradition from Britain to Sweden to face allegations of sexual assault. She acted as a kind of gatekeeper for Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where the Australians sought asylum in 2012. Assange fears extradition to Sweden would lead to his transfer to the United States and possible prosecution over his whistleblowing activities. In her statement, Harrison said that already in the few days I have spent in Germany, it is heartening to see the people join together and calling for their government to do what must be done to investigate NSA spying invasion and to offer Edward Snowden asylum. The United States should no longer be able to continue spying on every person around the globe, or persecuting those that speak the truth, she wrote. Her choice of Berlin as a destination comes a day after Germany said it had asked to speak to Britain ambassadors following a media report that London has been operating a secret listening post from its embassy in Berlin. New York City, AFP, an American grandmother who on Sunday was the oldest woman to compete in the New York Marathon, died a day later. She was 86. Joy Johnson from St. John's, California, took just under 8 hours to complete the 26.2 mile, 42.2 kilometers race through all 5 boroughs of the biggest city in the United States. She stopped and hit her head at around the 20th mile, but she went to the medical tent only after completing the race and declined their insistence that she go to hospital. She never really ran to compete. She ran because she loved it. Her youngest daughter, Diana Boyd, told AFP by telephone Tuesday. Johnson, who would have turned 86 on Christmas Day, had been a physical education teacher and coach for many years, but only took up running in retirement. Sunday was the 25th consecutive time she finished the race. Her fastest time in New York was just under 4 hours in 1991. She came first in her age group 3 times. She was a woman of great faith. Late was first in her life, faith, and family and then probably running. She really loved to run. She made a lot of friends that went all over the world. Boylston said she really was amazing. While Johnson's training had relaxed slightly in recent years, it was still rigorous for many people half her age. She would go every morning out to our local track and run with people who were running or talking there. She would run branches obvious doing stretching before you left, said Boylston. She traveled to New York accompanied by her sister, Faith. After the race, it was her custom to have a lot of hot baths and go to bed. On the next day, it was her tradition to go to Rockefeller Plaza where U.S. TV network NBC films the Today Show. When she and her sisters returned to their hotel, Johnson lay down to rest and never woke up. Her daughter Liz spoke to her one day before the race and said she has been very happy. I got to tell her I love her. That's what's been keeping me going, Boylston said. June 18th of the marathon, more than 50,000 starters this year were over 80, according to race organizer. Johnson came in fourth in her group of runners aged 18 to 89. A man aged 89 was the oldest person to compete Sunday. We are saddened to hear about the passing of Joy. She finished her 20th on Sunday, and she was just such an inspiration to us all. Chris Wheeler, a spokesman for organizer New York Road Runners. Johnson was originally from Minnesota and grew up on a dairy farm. Her husband died 15 years ago. She is survived by three of her 4 children and 6 grandchildren. Motorcycle stolen in 1967 is found in 2013. In February 1967, a 1953 Triumph Tiger 100 motorcycle was stolen from a man's backyard in Omaha, Nebraska. More than 45 years later, the same bike was found by U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) agents at a Los Angeles port. The bike was on its way to Yokohama, Japan, where authorities from Customs decided to take a closer look. The Orange County Register report. Upon seeing the bike's vehicle identification number VIN matched a bike that was reported stolen way back when, agents seized the bike. The bike, estimated to be worth around $9,000, was then sent to the California Highway Patrol, which tracked down the owner, now 72 and still living in Nebraska. Los Angeles Weekly reports that this type of fun isn't as rare as one might think. Todd C. Owens, CBP Director of Field Operations in Los Angeles, said the CBP agent recently intercepted 2 other vehicles stolen at least 20 years ago. Omaha.com spoke with the bike's owner, Donna R. DeVos, who explained that the bike used to look a lot different. Back then, it was baby blue and it looked like a little toy chopper, he said. He told the paper that he is looking forward to the reunion. I'm going to ask her, where have you been? I bet there's a lot of story she could tell me. She told Omaha.com. I wish she could talk because a lot happened in 46 years. Outrage over burning Twin Towers Halloween costume worn by teen in the UK. Every year we hear about people who choose to wear inappropriate Halloween costumes. Well, for some reason, 2013 seems to be topping all other years as far as offensive costumes are concerned. You may have heard the fury over costume represent Trayvon Martin and Boston Marathon bombing victims, as well as criticisms or celebrity like Julianne Hough for wearing blackface for her Orange is the New Black attire. Now, photos of 2 girls in the United Kingdom are causing even more outrage. They choose to dress up, if you can believe it, as the Twin Tower burning, complete with fury, explosion accessory, and American flag. University of Chester student Amber Lanford and Annie Clark, both 19 years old, wore the matching costume, one labeled South Tower and the other North Tower, to a party at Rose's nightclub in Chester. Lanford's mother, Martin, is even a pirate. And as if all that wasn't enough, the club awarded the girl best dress for their costume, winning them a cash prize. The pair released a statement saying, "We never meant to be offensive, but we apologize if any offense was caused. The idea was to depict a modern-day horror that happened in our lifetime and was not intended as a joke, as you can imagine." Families of 9/11 victims are among those disgusted by the costume. Patricia Bingley, who lost her 43-year-old son, Kevin Dennis, in this attack, said, "This is unbelievable. September 11 happened in their lifetime. It's hard to understand where they've come from to do this without a thought for those who died or the family left behind."